G'day everyone, Nelson here. Welcome back to the Ute, video number 4. Haven't done heaps as of yet, or it doesn't look like I've done anything. It's just been taking me ages to do all the grinding and welding in the tub area. It actually takes a lot longer than it looks, but I've got all that done now at least. The next step is I need to get it up on the hoist and finish up the underside of the wheel tubs, and I can't do that until MCFRY gets its motor back, which should be hopefully next weekend. So once that happens, get the motor back in MCFRY and get the car ready for Summer Nat Slam, and we can just start doing some more stuff on the Ute. So this video I'm probably just going to show everyone what I have done. I might be able to do, I've got to weld up these the clips down the side of the Ute here, and I've got to do like a rust repair up the front, so I can probably do that in this video and be able to show everyone the blower and some of the parts that I've been getting in for the Ute, so that's the fun stuff. Alright, so this is what I have been busy with. There's a heap of little holes down there. I've just welded them all up, and all around in here I had to get a die grinder to get down in here. It was a prick of a job, but it's all done now at least. All up in there, all down there, and they look very straight, which is good, so I didn't do any warping when I was welding. I've still got to do the infill panels. I just got to cut them down, but I've got plenty of time to do that. And the underside, what I've got to do, this is how we're looking under here. I've got to do some like patch sort of welding up in here. Got to foot something in there. I'm just going to pretty much stitch join my plates in and get all up into the under there done. But I'm not doing that until I get it up on the hoist, because it's going to be, I'm going to get burnt everywhere. So what I might do is I'll probably weld these up, because that's got to get done. And I'm probably going to have a fuel cell, so probably going to have to weld that up too. I've got to fix this. This is where the guard, because I had a front end collision at one point, the guard's come in and whacked it. And I've got this, I cut this off a car down at the farm. It's a bit rusty on the top, but it's actually perfectly straight, so I'll give that a bit of a grind and clean it up and weld that in there. All these are going to be exciting. Tools of the trade. Safety glasses, so make sure you've got safety glasses at all times. Texter, strip disc, these are awesome for ripping paint off, and a cutting disc, and power. Hopefully this shit doesn't go everywhere and clog up the screen of the camera. Texter. This isn't going to be that accurate because it's not on there properly, but let's cut somewhere around there. Alrighty, I'll cut that. These discs are really good for getting paint off. They do warp panels. I've warped plenty of bonnets, doors, you name it, using these strip discs. So they're good, but they generate a lot of heat. So I always recommend paint stripping on things like roofs, bonnets, that sort of thing. Because I've been there and done it, and it makes your job twice as hard. did do it right at the end there. Might just do it the same. I think it'll be a lot better trying to, well, you can't really see. What's out? It's the old piece. And I'll just trim this one to suit. So this is where we're at. No rust underneath, which is good. I'm just going to try and straighten this out a little bit. I decided to keep that because it's just going to be easier for the trim. Like, that's obviously, yeah, if I try and weld in there, it's just probably going to make it harder to get the trim right. So it'll be easier just doing it like this, and worst case, just put some filler in there if it doesn't look right. That bit there looks alright. So I'll just strip this back with a strip disc, cut that to this here, and get it in place and try to get it welded on. Alright, so this is where we ended up. I'll just pull that back out with a pair of pliers. Got this cut to shape, so now it actually fits in there nice. Good. So now I just need to get a magnet out to hold it in place and just weld it in. Made that look easy, didn't I? Come have a look. I just welded that piece on here to pull the metal up because it's sunk down a bit, that's all. I straightened up down in here. So I'm just going to do like light little tacks around and try not to get too much heat in it, because not that it's going to do much warp in there anyway, but I'll still try not to get too much heat in it. And we'll weld it up and grind it and see how it comes out. So this is how we finished up. I'm not going to get too pedantic on it. But overall, turned out really good. Obviously it'll need a bit of filler, but I don't mind having, you know, it'll be very minor, so I'm very happy with that. I'll just put some lanolin on that and start on the next bit, which is welding up more holes. New present has arrived. Check it out. Look at that. I don't get too excited too often, but I'm excited today because I got my blower. Littlefield 1471. It's a good day. Ta-da! It's all mocked up on the motor now. Jeez, I'm excited. I was a bit worried putting that on there that the engine stand was going to snap in half, but seems to be holding up alright. It's on a bit of an angle. Jeez, I can't wait to get this thing going now. And this ute build is proudly brought to you by Billet Automotive Buttons. So we've been in business now for over 4 years. So we sell laser etch buttons, and we actually ship a lot of our products overseas to America. So, and I just thought I'd build like a sort of a promotional ute, and that's what this ute's going to be. So it's going to do burnout comps, it's going to do drag racing, it's going to do as much as I can in it, and it's all going to be paid for by me and the business. So, and I'm going to be doing all the work myself, and yeah, and that's probably the reason why I'm buying a lot of new parts. Is when you got a company, you buy new parts, and everything has 10% GST on it, so you get, it's kind of more beneficial to buy stuff new when you have a company because you get the GST credits. So I've got to admit it's very expensive, so it's kind of like putting a puzzle together, especially a blown motor. There's so many little things that you just don't think about. And once I get all that done, all the plumbing up of everything it's going to be a big job as well. So it'll probably take me a while to get all that done, but once it's done, it's done. And the only reason I'm doing all this myself is because it's the only way you learn things. You got to do it yourself, otherwise you'll never learn. But obviously you still need help. You got to ask the right people to get the right help, so you don't, do the wrong thing. So I'll go back to the ute now. I'll flip this around. I was going to get to doing welding these up in this video, but I might just wait for the next one. All I was going to do is grind around there, do one at a time, one hole, one hole, one hole, go around the hole, do the other side, come back and then do the next hole, and just do it without getting minimal heat in the panel, because I know how easy the panels warp. So back to the blower. I ended up going with a little field blower purely because I just like the look of them, and I went with a grey anodized case. Like cost wise, they pretty much cost the same as getting a blower from the blower shop, so I just thought I'd go little field because the only blowers I could manage to find in Australia were pretty much the blower shop, and you could get 871 little fields, but all the big little fields just had to go direct. So I just went direct from Littlefield, got the blower in, the injector hat from RBS Superchargers. I got the JBR carbon injector hat, and Sean's custom billet aluminium rock covers. I got the belt guard there. I've got to get some spacers for that, for the blower. The Lithimax battery. I got this battery in MCFRY, and only weighs 3.5 kilos, and it starts the big block, so I'm going to be putting one of those in the ute as well. I've still got to get a crank support, so I'm not even going to be able to probably use that hub. I've got to get a crank support for the motor, and got to get a drive coming off the front to drive the dry sump pump. So the crank support's going to come off here, have a friggin' thing at the front here and run the dry sump pump, and I'll try get one with the fuel pump runs off the back of the dry sump pump, so I can just run all that off the one belt, because I'd like to try keep the Jezel belt drive if I can. And Plasma Man billet intake manifold, So it'll all look really nice when it's all together and all plumbed up. It's going to have, you know, the black rock covers, the blackish sort of blacked out blower, accessory drives. And I'm just going to have, I'll leave the heads, the aluminium. Obviously that's going to be the anodized, and then I'll paint everything else sort of black, but I just wanted to break it up a bit, so I didn't want the whole motor blacked out, so just sort of have a little bit of aluminium look going on in there. This intake manifold lines up perfectly in the ports too, which is good. And this motor here, so it was 900 plus horsepower. I got this motor second hand, so it's going to have to get, I'm sending the motor over to Brad's soon to get a lot of work done, so nearly everything's got to be changed inside of it. I can keep it's got Oliver rods in it, it's got a good crank in it. I just got to change the pistons because it's 15:1 compression at the moment, so it's going to get a rebore, new pistons, bigger lifter bores. It's going to have a big cam. It's got all the good gear in the heads. It's got I think Jezel rockers it's got, so yeah, should be great. And I've decided to go with coil on plug rather than going with a magneto, because I'm probably only going to be running sort of maximum 25 pound boost, so the coil on plug will work fine, and I just want to have the full control over the timing. And it's going to be a big learning curve, I've got to admit, but only way to learn is to have a go. Got the cross member all cut out for the new sump for this as well. Get a closer look here. MCFRY modified the drag link. That's to fit the new aluminium pan. I had too much bad luck with the steel pan, so I'm going back to an aluminium pan, and fingers crossed it doesn't vibrate to pieces. And that's the dry sump for the big block for the ute, so it's an Olsen's pan. It's going to be a bit of a nightmare fitting that in that ute, but it's going to be a lot of modifying to the cross member and everything else. Head back over here. So I'm actually thinking with the blower, it's probably going to have to come back, you know, maybe even back into here. So I'm probably going to have to chop out that firewall. This ute is not going to be registered either, so I'm not too worried about cutting this thing up, just for that reason. And unfortunately, you just can't drive highly modified stuff like this on the roads anymore without big fines, and just draws too much attention. But it's all coming along. Still getting in parts for the ute, so got a GDS dash I'll be running in the ute. I just put a new lens kit in it, so I'm just going to be running a white needle GDS dash. Got a Rare Spares GDS wheel, which I've got to admit the quality of those is actually not too bad. Excellent. I don't know what else I could show you guys, so I'll have to cut this video short. Thanks for watching anyway, and just remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll try to bring you more fun, exciting videos like this one. Peace out.